I'm coming in from London, Ontario, Canada. Not sure if anyone's familiar with that. We're in the middle of Toronto and Detroit, but people get confused when I say London. So I'd love to see where everyone else is tuning in from. So please share in the chat where you're calling in from. Oh, the chat is disabled. Julia, do you mind making that enable? Thank you for flagging that. Appreciate it. See if that is working now. Sorry for the quick tech difficulty there. We'll be getting it working very shortly. In the meantime, if you want to share where you are from in the question and answer, I can also look into that. Okay, I think we have some. We have Indonesia. Awesome. The Netherlands, Toronto, Ontario. We got Oklahoma, California, London, the real one. Saying my London isn't real. No, yours is way better. Got Mexico, Peru. Got people tuning in from everywhere. That's amazing. New Brunswick, North Carolina, Thailand. Some more Toronto, Arizona. Love it. New Zealand, Iran. Wow, I love seeing this global representation. Thank you all so much for joining us. We're gonna give another couple minutes for people to join, and then we'll get started. Norway, some more India. Love this. Michigan, close to me, from my London. Cincinnati. Amazing. All right, we're gonna get started in 1 minute. Thank you all so much for joining us. Really excited to start this conversation with you all. Okay, so let's get started. Welcome everyone for joining us for the How to Make Money as a Muse Ambassador. I'm so excited to have you all here with us today. I'd like to quickly introduce our panel before we get started. You have myself, Summer. So for those who don't know me, I'm the Senior Marketing Manager at Muse, and I'm the ambassador lead. So if you are an ambassador with Muse, you might recognize my name from emails, or maybe we've chatted directly. If you're interested in becoming a Muse ambassador, I'm your lead. So I'll be the one who is your main point of contact. Now, I'm super excited to introduce our panelists today. We have Dr. Cody Rall. Now, Dr. Cody Rall is a former U.S. Navy active duty psychiatrist. He's a founding member and Stanford Brainstorm alumni, and he is the neurotech guy. So if you have not checked out his YouTube videos, all about neurotech from Muse, but all these different tools, highly suggest checking him out at Tech for Psych. He also happens to be one of our most successful ambassadors. So I'm really excited to have him here and chat with you all about all his tips and tricks about how to be a successful Muse ambassador, but affiliate in general. And then I'm also excited to introduce you to Sarah Evans. So you might recognize her from our social channels if you follow us on Instagram or TikTok. She also has hosted a lot of our previous webinars if you've been involved, but she's also our biofeedback integration specialist. So she knows everything there is to know about Muse and really how to integrate it for your clients, for your followers and audience. So really excited for her to join us to really teach you how to leverage Muse. So let's get into what an ambassador is. So ambassador, in the really simplest definition, is a person who represents, speaks for, or advertises a particular organization, group of people, activity, or brand. So when we're looking at a Muse ambassador, it's someone who really advocates for Muse. We're looking for these long-term partnerships who's going to become a community member in our Muse ambassador community. Now, why would someone want to become a Muse ambassador? Well, we have quite a few, if we want to go to the next slide, Julia. We have a lot of reasons why we want to become a Muse ambassador. So one, exclusive benefits. So as you sign up as a Muse ambassador, you'll get early access to all our new features. You'll be the first to hear about beta tests. So being able to test out the features before it goes out to the public, share your feedback with us. And you'll also be able to get the latest Muse research, other features. So being able to be the first to know is awesome. You're going to be joining a community of neuroscientists, clinicians, athletes, wellness experts who are looking at Muse to enhance performance and well-being. And then, of course, to earn as you share. So you're a Muse user, you're already recommending Muse and using this product, so why not earn monies too? Some of our ambassadors are earning tens of thousands of dollars every year from promoting Muse. So if you're already promoting about it, why not earn some money? So how we're maximizing our rewards. So we've designed a tiered commission structure to really reward and recognize our ambassadors' efforts. So when you sign up as an ambassador, you're going to be starting at our 10% commission. That's your initial commission if you are garnering under 15 sales per month. And even though, the 10% is the starting one, because we're such a premium product with a high average order value, you still have the opportunity to earn like significant amount compared to other lower priced products. When you are really pushing Muse and our messaging, we like to reward people by giving them a 15% commission and joining our VIP tier. So that's when you're selling 15 to 29 sales per month for 3 consecutive months. And then if you're really smashing your sales, we're going to reward you with a 20% commission, which is double the commission that we had when you started. So that's when you're doing 30 sales a month for 3 consecutive months. And if you kind of do the math there, if you're able to do a minimum of 30 sales a month for a year, that's an extra $20,000. So you have a really big opportunity to be able to earn a lot as an ambassador at Muse. And just before we move on, I want to do a quick mention is I know we have some ambassadors here who might be familiar with our old platform, Get Ambassador. We have not been with that platform for over a year, and we would have sent some communications out, but things happen in spam, so that's no problem if you haven't gotten the communication. But just to let you know that if you haven't signed up to our new platform, Inflection, please do so. Julia will drop the link in our chat at partners.choosemuse.com. Inflection is great for you being able to track your sales, but also are able to use your landing page and really personalize it. So you can personalize with your own testimonial, a picture of yourself, a quote. So I really highly suggest checking out the link, which Julia is going to send in the chat as well. And yeah, we'll move on to the next slide. And then lastly, before we get into our panel discussion, I want to let you know all about our upcoming sales. So during this time, so starting November 7th, so we're in the pre-Black Friday sale period right now, our discounts are the highest they will be for the year. So this is a really opportune time for you to leverage our discounts. So usually our ambassador discounts are at a 15% off. Now we have a 20% off for Black Friday. It's up to 25% off. And so using this time to really push those sales because people are looking for discounts, they're looking for gifts, they're looking for things to help them improve in the new year. So really use this time to leverage these discounts. And I also want to flag that during this time, discounts are automatic on our website. So please direct your followers and clients to use your link. So the link will be attached to a cookie, and that will help you to earn the commission. So please use your link only during this time. And then without further ado, let's get into the panel discussion. Oh my God, what happened? Oh, sorry, something broke. I thought it ended on my end. Whoops. So amazing. Before we dive kind of into the tips and strategies, what I find is the most important thing about being an ambassador and affiliate is really knowing the product. And, Muse is a new product to a lot of people. So a lot of people don't know what EEG or neurofeedback is. And so when you become an ambassador and affiliate, understanding the product is the most important thing. So I really want to chat about, strategies and tips about learning what Muse is. And so, Sarah, I want to start with you. What would you say are the core features and benefits of Muse that ambassadors should highlight to their audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So you may arrive as a Muse ambassador or are a Muse ambassador and have, in this emergent field of not only neurotech, but using tech assistance to level up your life, to improve your overall health. That is something that has a wide spectrum. And so Muse at its core trains focused attention and helps to improve your quality of sleep. So those are some key features that when you really pull back and hone in on that, that is always sort of something that you can anchor into. And so a lot of studies were done around using Muse as a tool for focused attention meditation for 10 minutes a day over the course of 30 days and watching how creating that attentional stability had a plethora of benefits in your life. And so those benefits are often certain things that you may champion. So whether you're coming in for stress reduction, dealing with anxiety, whether you're coming in from maybe some more serious or acute health issues and using Muse as a tool, anchoring attentional stability is something that we know across the board is going to help improve your quality of life. And so the core feature of a biofeedback session with Muse is something that, anyone who from the moment they unbox it to starting their first session is taken through on our app, learning how to use Muse for focused attention. So that's the first piece there. The second is the sleep improvement. So our sleep induction technology is really interesting. And I like emphasizing this feature because there's a lot of tech out there that tracks your sleep. Muse is not only the most accurate sleep tracking device on the market, but I don't know about you, but having just sleep data can be stressful. If I don't know what I'm going to do with it, or I don't know how to implement change based on that data. And so we have something called Smart Fade technology in our Muse S. And what that does is give you the same way that we're training focused attention, we're starting to train deep sleep cycles. And so when you put a Muse S on and you do something called a digital sleeping pill program in our app, what you're taken through is a series of 14 or 20 days sleep intervention where you're putting Muse on to go to sleep. You might be choosing a soundscape or a piece of guidance for that chunk of time. And it's gently going to fade out as you fall asleep. And if you're coming out of deep sleep cycles too early, Muse is going to gently fade that audio back in, training you that this piece of music or guidance means go back down to sleep. And so this is a really unique feature that we're seeing across the board because sleep in particular over the past 5 years has just risen in our consciousness as a really important piece of overall health. So those two key features I find really important to know. And the two other ones, definitely we're going to get into this a little bit more, but we have a brand new metric called the alpha peak frequency, and it's a cognitive performance metric. It speaks about your overall brain health. And this is something that you're going to see more and more coming out of Muse. And understanding what brain health means and how we can track it and how we can work with it to improve it is something that you can really dig into. And we're giving you a lot of tools in the app in how to do that. So coming into the app and understanding how to work with our cognitive performance metric is something that I highly suggest for any new Muse ambassador. And the last thing I'd like to emphasize is, as Summer mentioned, there's so many opportunities as a Muse ambassador. You are championing it for so many reasons. And when I find in the last couple of years, there's a lot more coaches and clinicians coming in and using Muse in their professional practices. And so what you're seeing in the app is our direct-to-consumer product, but we have a lot of business tools. We have a lot of plug-and-play programs that coaches and clinicians can use, and that's on sort of my side of things. And so Julia's going to drop my email in the chat if there's anyone on the call that has a business where you're using Muse in particular with clients for biofeedback programs and you want to explore deeper features, deeper tools that we have there, you can contact me. I'd love to give you a tour.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sarah, for that really in-depth thing. I think you've made a lot of great points. And, Cody, coming from someone who doesn't work with Muse, and you're a neurotech expert who tests a variety of tools and neurotech tools daily, What is it about Muse's technology that personally stands out to you, and how can ambassadors use these unique features as a key selling point?
Yeah, it's always really easy for me to recommend Muse to a particular type of customer or client. And normally that's because Muse has just doubled and tripled down on meditation neurofeedback. I think that you guys do it better than any other neurotech company or device out there. So it's really easy for me to recommend that. And I think sometimes we forget, even 20 years ago, how odd meditation sounded to the mainstream population and how much evidence was built up over those 2 decades and how accepted meditation came to be as something that you should do with your daily practice. But I think that lagging behind is tools to show you that meditation is actually affecting your brain and your brain health. And what's nice about mindfulness meditation is that it can apply to so many different complaints people have about how their brain is functioning, whether that be anxiety, difficulty with focus, sleep. It really can improve across the board a lot of those symptoms. So, normally, I think that people that are coming in and seeking help with meditation gravitate towards Muse. And what's easy or what's so you can sort of ride that wave in social media and say, hey, we've got this tool that analyzes your brain waves. It tells you about how your meditation sessions are going. And then you can increase the complexity level from there, talking about different meditative techniques that you've tried with the technology, how the technology has responded to that, maybe make tutorials on how you think you could best or your watchers could best use this tool to integrate it into their lives to improve their meditation techniques. So that's always what's really stood out to me as far as what Muse offers as an immediate value offer to the customer.
I love that, and I love your chatting about testimonials. And I know we'll chat a little bit more about some of your tips and tricks, but I think that was a great one to mention. For Sarah, I know you've talked to hundreds, if not thousands, of clinicians and customers who talk to Muse. What are some common challenges new users face when using Muse, and how can ambassadors help their audiences overcome them?
Great question. It doesn't matter if I'm talking to a scientist, someone in the research field, a top tiered coach, or someone that's picked up a Muse for the first time. The most common issue or challenge is developing a habit. I mean, developing a habit speaks to the core of this Muse being a training tool. And so many of us want the answer. We want our uncomfortability to be addressed immediately. That is sort of the world that we live in. It's the moment that we're living in right now. And so Muse as a training tool and is so, I think, important to be with your audience in that journey. And so I actually gave Julia a link to helping to build a practice, not only with a new piece of technology, but with essentially a meditation intervention. So you're being asked to sit still. And I don't know about you, but depending on what's going on in my life, that can be incredibly difficult. And even longtime meditators who incorporate Muse, often when we do have that ability paired with having data on our moment, we're given deeper and deeper insights on how we're doing mentally, even how we're doing emotionally. And so the mental and emotional health snapshot that we receive on a daily basis, that in itself prompts a journey. And so having different tools and being really real with your audience. What do you do on low energy days? How do you pick up this tool when you're really excited about it for the first 2 weeks and then it kind of sat in the back of the closet for the next two? And being really authentic about that journey, because I think understanding that it is repetition, that it is using it again and again and showing up to the practice of Muse, your data won't look the same every day, and it won't exponentially increase for the good or for better every single day. And that's part of being a human being. And I think having that type of compassionate practice and type of compassionate communication as an ambassador will do nothing but grow the audience.
Yeah, I think you made some really good points there. And I know talking about digital sleeping pills, for example, we've talked about this, about people wearing the headband, and it's all about, maybe you haven't slept with a headband every single day, but I'm sure when you first started wearing a sleep mask, you didn't wear a sleep mask every single day, and you have to get used to that daily habit. And then once it becomes a habit, it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, and I just want to speakly brief to the sort of two common ways, and that folks are using Muse. So we talked a lot in this moment about training or using it consistently. And Muse as a training tool, you know, that 10 minutes a day prompt or using it every day to train your focused attention or deep sleep cycles is one way. But what we're seeing is an increase of using Muse in a moment of tension. So using Muse to learn how to state shift. We have these other great biofeedback meditations in the app, the heart, the breath, the body, that cue you to understand that putting it on in a moment of tension or before a big meeting to learn how to create calm while adrenaline is pumping through your body is really valuable. And learning that in 3 minutes, you can learn how to gain better control or awareness around your stress and therefore improve your overall mental, emotional, and brain health altogether.
I love that. Thank you so much. And both Cody and Sarah, I appreciate you going into, the benefits of Muse. Again, it's so important to know the product that you are promoting. That is the most important part of being a successful ambassador, is knowing what you're talking about. But now let's kind of shift our conversation a little bit more about like tips and tricks on how to make money as an affiliate and how to just be an successful ambassador. So Cody, I know you've been with Muse for quite a few years before my time, and you built a really successful platform. So what are your top tips and strategies for driving engagement and conversions, and what should new ambassadors focus on to maximize their success?
There's so many different ways that this can be done, and it can depend on the individual. What preference do you have for what social media platform you feel like you communicate best on? For me, my bread and butter has been YouTube. I think that YouTube is very powerful for creating connections between you and your audience. If they stick with you for an 8 to 20-minute long YouTube video, they're going to build a much stronger connection to you than if they watch a 20-second TikTok video. That's not saying that TikTok can't work as well. It's just it's a different style of video, and I think that one of the core tenets for me has always just been a fascination with this technology, coming from a mental health psychiatry background, where we had people coming back from overseas, from Iraq and Afghanistan, that were exposed to improvised explosive devices, IEDs, and we knew that there was tissue damage in their brain, but it actually was not showing up on MRI scans, and it would manifest as anxiety or tinnitus or various other ailments that are psychiatric in nature, but actually do have brain pathology behind them. So the fact that these tools were being developed to take actual measurements of the brain and potentially completely revolutionize and transform how mental health treatment is done and how health and wellness can be done at home with brain devices. And I love that term, democratizing neurotechnology. We're bringing these amazing new tools to you, the people, that you can use at home. I think that's always been my optimism and excitement behind the YouTube videos and why people gravitate towards them. And it's like they get to join in on the excitement of it. It's like, if you want to be a part of this revolution of how we assess and train our brains, and can imagine where this is going in the future, and you want to experience this at home, hey, I've got a discount link in the description below if you want to join in. So it's really like an excitement and optimism, and also like join the club type attitude that I think that people really connect with. And it's not me just saying, hey, you should buy this device because I think it'll help with your sleep. So there's a lot of a deeper philosophy behind it, and that's just been my style. And I think everybody can develop their own style behind it. But those are the core tenets for me: is long form videos, building a connection. I think podcasts are great for that as well. Can be done on shorter other media platforms with shorter clips, but might be more difficult. And then also, what's your deep philosophy and underlying belief behind what's happening here with neurotechnology and Muse in particular? And I think that people can gravitate towards that better than just, here's the device, here's an unboxing, this is pretty neat, okay, on to the next thing.
Yeah, yeah, I think you make a lot of great points there, especially, as EEG and neurofeedback is such a new topic for a lot of people. It's so hard to get to explain what it does in a 30-second clip. And I think there is a world where you can have a longer form content out there, and then splice it up into little other forms of content so you can share on Instagram or TikTok. But I do think, and at least in my experience with working with our affiliates, the ones that are most successful have grown or work with the SEO on YouTube and all that stuff. And then they supplement with, yeah, exactly, like they'll share on TikTok or Instagram or their email channels. So yeah, I think those are some really great tips. And one thing I really admire about your content specifically is you seamlessly, and like how you seamlessly incorporate Muse. It really never feels like an ad. So can you share your approach to creating content that resonates with your audience while naturally promoting Muse?
Yeah, I think that there's a way of going about this that shows your excitement for the technology and focusing on the technology itself, but also uh, the type of people that would benefit from the Muse. So going back to what I covered before, it's like if you're having trouble sleeping, or mostly with meditation for me, because I think that people genuinely are interested in meditation because they've heard so much about it that they have this additional tool to use to sharpen those skills. So for me, it's general excitement behind what's possible with the technology and some tips and tricks, but also what's become really important on YouTube and social media in general is that authentic subjective experience is highly valued because people want to hear what your experience with the technology was. What are your thoughts on what's happening? So what's great about that is everybody is their own individual and everybody's going to have their own take. So if you feel like the field is saturated, it's really not, because no one's heard your own personal take before. So sharing those ideas, sharing those uh, strategies that you've used and how they've affected your practice, I think will always come across authentic and build trust with the audience. And weigh the pros and cons. Like, this is not a perfect device. There's a lot of things that are annoying about it. You probably have to wet the sensors if you want a better signal. Uh, you have to remember to do it every day. Like, share those gripes with your audience so that they build trust in you, because they understand that you're a real person that's excited about the technology, but also being authentic about the limitations about it. And then once you've earned, uh, deliver a lot of value up front, and once you've earned their trust, and by sharing a lot, towards the end of the video, that's when you talk about, hey, I do have links in the description below if you'd like to join in and share your thoughts. Comment below. Make sure you have a good call to action at the end of the video, and those are some strategies that I've used that I think have been successful.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point with one, the CTA. I think a lot of people kind of forget that you have to have a strong CTA. Okay, you told me about the device. Now what? Can I go purchase it? Should I go find more information? Okay, now I have the device. Now what do I do? And so yeah, I think when I tend to work with a lot of affiliates, they'll open the box, they'll try it out, and then it ends there. But then you're not going to see the sales coming through because, as you said, you haven't really integrated it. You haven't talked about what you know about the device or the positives or the challenges, and really like showcase that you authentically use the device. So that's definitely something that I've seen. And then that strong CTA is really important. And I think you did touch a little bit about this, about your trust and authenticity with your community when promoting Muse, but I know you also like have really built a strong community in the neurotech vertical. I mean, when I think of neurotech, I think of Cody. So how did you kind of build your niche, I guess, and like people who might not be a neurotech expert, maybe they're an expert in ADHD or menopause and women's health. How do they really build that community in the niche that they have?
I think that one tool that might be helpful right now is ChatGPT or general language models, because I've had a lot of YouTube training over the years. I've been doing this for about a decade. There's some great programs out there like Channel Jumpstarters with Daryl Eves. There's Think Media with Sean Cannell. There's resources out there for you to learn about YouTube in particular and understand how the ecosystem works, so that you can figure out how to plug your niche into the ecosystem. And once you're on these platforms for a while, start to see certain trends. There's different trends that'll come and go. There's different ways of wording videos. It's like, I tried this device for 30 days. Here's what I found. Brand new features on this device, or there's a lot of different ways you can package the information that builds an ecosystem. And if you want more information on that, just ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT is literally like a YouTube expert at this point, or one of the other AI programs. Uh, Ask it for a content strategy content strategy list. It'll give you all different types of videos. There's kind of turnkey types of videos that do well on YouTube, and you can sort of plug in your niche, your technology, and your expertise into those different formats, different archetypes of videos, and really build a platform behind what you're interested in, and sort of like a tapestry of different views and perspectives of not the same thing, but similar information, which is
Mhm.
also helpful for efficiency because, you don't, for me, I don't want to refilm B-roll every time I make a new video. I'll definitely try to keep it fresh as the months go on, but, I can reuse a lot of B-roll, a lot of screenshots, a lot of screen recordings that I've used in certain videos and format them in a different way to build up more of a content library. And the more of your content library that your audience watches, the more familiar they get with you. And not only consumers, but businesses as well. Because what happened with me is, um, over the years, I got to know Muse. I know quite a few other neurotech companies as well, so I'm in communication with them. I've built up a lot of connections on LinkedIn is really helpful for me
Mm.
because people are always posting updates about companies, new venture capital raise, new features available on the devices. And, whenever I see something new on LinkedIn, I take a screenshot of it. It's like, okay, I need to make a video on that, or I need to reach out to this person and get more information on that. And as you build a reputation in your niche, I think, and your network, you become uh, more up to speed. You find things out a little bit earlier than the general population do, and you become that communicator that can share that information with the world.
Mhm. Yeah, that's amazing. I know there's a lot of things going through that you chatted on. I think one was you mentioned using AI and ChatGPT. You put your niche in, you put your platform in. So I know we've chatted a lot about YouTube and long form content because no, it works for you, it works for other people. But you mentioned LinkedIn. I know I've talked to affiliates who have grown a community of over 100,000. And so if you do know your niche, if maybe you have tried out YouTube and it hasn't been as successful, but you have seen success on LinkedIn or Pinterest or Instagram, your community best. We're also saying longer form content has, you can get more in there, but what platform works best for you. And I know you had chatted a little bit with me off camera about AI and YouTube and the algorithm there. Are you able to chat a little bit more about how that's been working for you?
Yeah, so the AI has become extremely sophisticated. It actually on Google, Google's parent company uh, has AI that actually takes a look at the YouTube videos themselves. So it's no longer just about search engine optimization on keywords. It used to be what keywords are in your title and in the description of your video. And that's still important, but the AI has gotten so much more granular about it. It's not even only analyzing what you say on camera and using those as keywords, but it
Mhm.
is also actually looking at the video content itself. Are you actually showing the device? Is it there with you using the device? And it's using those metrics to understand how relevant this is for the audience. Because at the end of the day, YouTube's ultimate goal is to keep people on the platform for longer, right? So you get rewarded for how many people click on the video, how many people stay through the first minute, how many people stay through the entire video, how many people not only watch that video, but then also binge other videos in your content library. So the more that you can understand that the AI is actually taking a look at your videos, the better you can optimize for the algorithm. One quick example would be if you're talking about going to Costco, the AI will actually favor videos of people actually in Costco talking about stuff at Costco than someone at home talking about things that they bought at Costco.
Mm.
So if you can sort of imagine what that means for creating content on like a product review or a technology review, that might stimulate your mind into like what is actually necessary to making a good YouTube video for the algorithm to show that to a lot of people. And I'm sure it's working similarly for other platforms as well.
Yeah, yeah. That was a great example. I'm now going to be thinking and using that example moving forward. But yeah, I think the algorithm is constantly changing, and now that we layer on AI with that, it's even getting more smarter and all that. What that's one thing that I always tell our affiliates because of AI and algorithm is always changing is building your email newsletter list. There's no algorithm with that. So when you are going to be sending out, a new YouTube video, you're connecting to an audience who wants to see that YouTube video, and they're not being filtered out with SEO or YouTube or the AI algorithm. Like, they are getting it in their inbox. So really trying to build that email list is also a really great tool to kind of maneuver away from those algorithms, but also building up on those other channels. Great. I want to leave us some time for questions, but before we get into questions, and if you haven't and you want some questions, please send them over into our Q&A chat box. You'll see that at the bottom of the video there. Is there anything else, Sarah, that maybe we haven't touched upon during this chat that you want to mention?
Oh, so many things, Summer. I thought I'd mention something that is a very common theme. And I'm really pulling back again to why anyone would show up to Muse and why some of the success stories that I've heard in terms of being able to promote this to the community that you have. And that's this kind of topic of agency, like health agency, health sovereignty. And Cody touched on this a little bit, but if you think about why someone would want data, why someone would want to understand from a data perspective what's going on. There's a term called interospection, and it's something that Muse trains. It's the ability to understand your internal cues. And in our society, we have a lot of burnout. We're very hyperproductive. And so sometimes when we're in these cycles, we lose our interospection. We lose that ability to understand our internal cues. And what Muse is doing on a very fundamental level is giving you data that reinforces that, hey, what I was feeling there, what was happening cognitively, it was is being shown up in the results. And so that builds agency, that builds trust, that, oh, actually, I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to understand that what I know to be true in that moment is actually what's really happening. And that is a very broad topic, but it can't be taken lightly because it's something that is being built back into our felt sense of what it is to be healthy. And so when we understand that we can trust ourselves to really assess how we're feeling, how our health is doing, and then we have the data to back it up, that's a huge tool in this day and age, especially when the distrust of larger agencies that in the world is failing a lot of people. And so I'm seeing a lot of folks turn to other mechanisms to create overall health, and in particular brain health is, to me, and one of the reasons why Muse continues to be sort of at that advanced edge of brain health, is this idea that when we're assessing stress and when we're assessing how stress affects our lives, we no longer can ignore brain health in that conversation. And so we're really diving deep into what affects overall brain health, our ability to recall information, our ability to manage time, all of these little nuances. And so I love that Muse, essentially, every single time you step up to it, is building back that interoception. It's giving you the data that's reinforcing that you have a great connection to your health, and it's putting that back in your hands.
I love that. I always love hearing you, Sarah, talk about Muse. I always learn something new, and I appreciate it. Before we get into questions, Cody, is there anything else that we didn't cover that you think would be super important to let the ambassadors and potential ambassadors know on how to succeed?
Well, I think these new metrics that are coming out with the Muse, the peak alpha, as well as recovery scores, in my mind, I think it's going to open a Pandora's box. In the old days, you had the frequency bands. You could show that Mind Monitor is a third-party program that you could use with Muse. And in the old days, there were Facebook groups, as you're well aware, of people uploading these graphs and making interpretations about what those frequency bands meant about their actual meditation sessions and their brain health. But this is really the first time we've had these metrics so clearly defined that are having variations throughout the day according to different things that you've done. And we were talking a little bit before the webinar. I want to do cold plunges. I want to do sauna. I want to do all kinds of different things and relate it to the peak alpha scores. And what we've seen on YouTube is there are entire industries popping up around HRV measurements and these other wearable measurements like Aura, and how different daily activities are affecting those scores and what that means. And now Muse, I think, has very much entered the playing field for that. So I'm really excited about that. And I think that there's an unlimited amount of content that could be created around those type of metrics and whatever else Muse comes up with in the near future. So if anybody out there is thinking that it's all been done and said, that is absolutely not the case. There's so much work to be done, and I'm really excited for the next couple of years.
Yeah, no, we're super excited about all the new features. As you mentioned about our Alpha Peak that just was launched a couple months ago, and we're currently going to be launching a new metric called Brain Recharge Score. If you saw our press release that we just launched with Alpha Beats, you can learn a little bit more about what that brain recharge is, or take a look at our blog at choosemuse.com/blogs. We've also put some more information about our brain recharge score, so definitely check that out. But yes, I want to leave some time for some Q&A. So if I don't get to your question during this time, I do apologize, but please feel free to email me at summer@interaxon.ca, and I'll do my best to direct you to who might be the best person to answer your question. The first question we have is, can the alpha peak frequency and cognitive performance metric be aligned with preventing Alzheimer's and dementia? So not sure if Sarah wanted to jump in here, but I know we can probably chat a little bit about our brain age research that we have. It doesn't necessarily specifically talk about Alzheimer's and dementia, and we aren't an FDA approved product right now, so we cannot say anything about preventing but we can talk about symptoms of, cognitive decline. And so we do have our brain age study that I think would be really great for you to take a look at. If Julia, if you can share that with the chat, I think this might be able to answer some of your questions, Cal. But I'm not sure if Sarah, you had anything to add to that.
Yeah, just briefly, I mean, cognitive performance is one of the most studied metrics in brain health. So we're in this incredibly emergent field, and what we're giving you is the opportunity to study the alpha peak frequency over time. And that's going to give you a really clear indicator on, how your lifestyle as it is affecting things like your memory, is affecting things like your ability to make quick decisions, to recall information. And so when you're able to track that over time yourself, you absolutely can start making some decisions that may increase your cognitive performance overall. But yeah, definitely that brain. I mean, you're going to see a lot more nailed down information from Muse in the future, particularly around brain age and brain health. And I think this cognitive performance score has been just such a game changer in really understanding. As we've mentioned, it's like the HRV metric for the brain. It's an overall brain health metric that and the insights that when you use it and when you track it over time, the insights that Muse can give you definitely are beautiful lifestyle changes that you can then start affecting your overall health.
That's why I like long form content, is you literally can discuss all the nuances there. You can literally say, I cannot say this is FDA approved for Alzheimer's, but what I can say is that this measurement is linked to cognitive performance, which goes down with multiple types of dementia. And we've seen that mindfulness improves these scores. So you can flesh it out that way in long form content and really, kind of resolve yourself of all concerns as far as the FDA goes.
Yeah, definitely. I think both great answers there. We'll move forward. Do you earn a commission to the technology and the accessories? Yes, you will earn a commission. Again, mentioning at the beginning, when you sign up as an ambassador, you will earn 10% on all technology and the accessories when you sell using your link. Does Muse have plans to incorporate AI? We do have a lot of exciting features happening in 2025. Cannot say right now if that includes AI, but I know that is something that we are exploring to want to add. So definitely keep eyes peeled on our new features when you sign up as a Muse ambassador.
I mean, if you want to start using AI now, you actually can load, if you want to get really granular about it, you can use Mind Monitor and record your raw EEG brainwaves and upload those to ChatGPT, which actually has been analyzing those metrics for me. I don't know if they're completely accurate or not, but if you want to start playing around with AI, you already can with the Muse. I've made a couple of videos on that as well.
Yes, I love Cody's videos. I've been screenshotting my data and always putting it up on ChatGPT to give me an answer. But yeah, it's definitely on our roadmap for AI. So when or if we'll be launching that, keep your eyes peeled. Once a referral becomes a Muse customer, will they always be a commissionable or only for the initial contact to Muse? Sorry, James, maybe if you want to retype that one, once a referral becomes a Muse customer, so basically if they use your link and they purchase, you will get the commission. But that is only, I believe, a 60-day window. So if they decide to, buy a Muse in the future, but they weren't using your link again, you wouldn't get that commission. So I think that answers your question, but feel free to ask again if that didn't answer. Cody, how do you suggest someone start with YouTube in particular, especially for the first 10 or so videos? If you could take an example, for instance, a channel targeting C-suite executives and using mindfulness as a performance boosting, how would you approach coming up with the first 10, or what would one of them look like?
So trend surfing is one of the terms that's handed around the YouTube community. And what I've become more aware of in recent years is that if something is trending, if something is popular, I think there's been a couple examples lately, and I'm trying to remember the oil, the cream that you someone help me out here. There's some cream that you can use to solve various health ailments. It's totally escaping me right now, but if you find something that's trending on YouTube, you can sort of latch your videos onto that and get like a kickstart um, for your content. And that can take form of reaction videos. So if you see a news program on mindfulness and C-suite executives using that to improve their performance, or you see another popular YouTube channel that is making content like that, um, not copycat, but emulate what they're doing and see if you can have your video catch the ride on some of that on some of that traffic.
Awesome. Do you need a minimum amount of followers to become an ambassador? No, absolutely not. Again, you can start with none. But when you're applying to become an ambassador, make sure you showcase why you want to become an ambassador with your channels. But feel free to share. Again, you don't need 1 million followers to make any money. It's all really about some of the tips and strategies we talked about here, is working with the algorithm, SEO, long form content, and really just understanding which platforms work best for you.
It was castor oil. Sorry. That was
Castor oil.
such a random fad this year that I saw a lot of YouTubers just talk about castor oil, and their videos went well past 1 million views, and they weren't even that great of videos. So trend surfing is a very real thing. And if you can find something that's trending that you can plug into, it really can boost your traffic. Figuring out how to optimize the algorithms can be really helpful for starting a new channel. So
Yeah, trend surf the brainwave is what we're trying to get people to do here. Any words about audio neural entrainment, as Muse proposes cool programs such as Aura and Monroe Institute? Is it Fred, is it about what if we're doing anything more with audio neural entrainment, or if we're going to be adding more programs? I know we're constantly in chats with Monroe Institute, but not sure specifically what we're asking here. I'm not sure if Sarah, you have any words about audio neural entrainment?
Just that it's, yeah, I mean, definitely it's accessible on our app right now. So we have a program with the Monroe Institute, and their 3D neural soundscapes. So you'll see in our app, things like binaural beats, hemi-syncing, these types of technologies. And again, that is Muse in our ecosystem has a lot of different ways to participate in the Muse app. So let's say, as you're training with Muse and you're doing your focused attention training, maybe some issues around insomnia or issues around, finding life purpose come up. We have these beautiful libraries of guided meditations or other programs with our partnerships that you can dive into for extra support or for some inspiration there. And so having these complementary programs is definitely always something. And because we have a massive research arm of our company, we're always developing new partnerships. We're able to pull and tug from those partnerships to always be updating that content. So it's definitely something that's already available.
Great. Do you have a starter kit for ambassadors with graphic content that could be used? Yes, absolutely. So if you haven't seen our partnership kit yet, I'll have Julia send over what that link is. At the very end of that partnership kit, the last page, that will have B-roll, logos, product imagery, lifestyle imagery. The whole kit has key messaging, how to work with a partner. You should get this when you also sign up as an ambassador. You should get a link to this deck as well, but we'll have Julia send that in the chat. Sorry.
I can answer a really, I saw it a couple times in the chat, and it's a really common question, real quick, Summer. And it's about earphones and Muse S and having sleep protocols. Because if you think about using the Muse, if you're in a partnership or in a marriage and you think about doing a sleep intervention, a really common question for ambassadors is like, okay, how do I suggest earphones or using the Muse at night? And so while this is up to personal preference, some people like using earphones, little earbuds. It can be Bluetooth or direct line with the DSP, the digital sleeping pill program. I find that a really common way to integrate Muse as the sleep tool is just to have the phone on your bedside table at a very, very low volume. If you think about the volume that's required during the day, it's very different than at night. I, for example, have Ocean Dive for my digital sleeping pill program twice a year, and it's a very low audio. It's not very immersive. It's like very low tone, very minimal. My partner actually requests it now sometimes because like, hey, you're gonna play that Ocean Dive again. And so just it's really about personal preference in terms of being able to sleep with earphones in. Some people wrap the headband all the way around earphones if they want to do that. There's some great sort of cloth wraparound ones that you can get, or simply having it on your nightstand at a very low volume is a great way to integrate the DSP.
Great. Thank you for catching that, Sarah. Cody, what has been the most successful campaign video topics you've covered when promoting Muse? Which ones have been the most popular for you?
It can be a little difficult for me to tell sometimes because the view metrics might be a little bit different than the conversion metrics. And because I have basically one link to send my traffic to for the purchases, it's hard to tell where the traffic, which links are sending the most traffic. I wish we could get more granular on that, but most affiliate marketing websites are not up to speed with that. Actually, I haven't seen that at all on any affiliate marketing websites yet. But that being said, some of the more, it's a really good question. And I was thinking about this before the call, what have been some of my most successful Muse videos. And one comes to mind that I put out about 2 years ago. And it was like, no BS, 7 years of Muse. Does it actually work? Because we forget there's so many people that are new to this technology and they think that it's still snake oil. They don't know what EEG is or that it's actually like legitimate EEG. And that actually was somewhat of an easy video to make because I really could just refer to all the amazing work that Muse has done. Dr. Olaf Kriegolson's done a lot of work validating the EEG signal and then all the other studies that have been done, as well as the new papers I was just looking at for peak alpha measurement. There's so much great science out there. And I think that people crave just being able to look at a paper and say, hey, this technology is legitimate. Like, I think that it could help me. I think that it could be integrated in my research. So some of the most successful Muse campaigns that I've had is just addressing the question, does this thing actually work or not? And here's the data to support it.
Yeah, I love that. And I think people have seen a lot of success with those negative, but like those negative things, because people are going to probably go to your video and they're like, oh, he's going to tell me that it doesn't work, but then it's like, actually, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, if I don't sell any Muse devices in a couple months, do I stop being an ambassador? No, you don't stop being an ambassador. We do like to check to see if people have been in the platform for, say, a year, and if they're not selling anything, then we might remove someone. But because we want to promote and push people to want to sell. But no, if it takes you a little while to get things going, you're not going to be removed at all. Um, is Cody, do prepared uploaded videos have any better reach than live streamed videos on YouTube?
That's a really great question. I need to do more live streams. I've been thinking about it. It's been on the back of my mind for months. I've really been trying to optimize my scripted out, pre-prepared, teleprompter filmed videos. I used to do more free flow thought delivery on Muse and all the other neurotech devices I used to talk about. About 3 or 4 years ago, I switched to teleprompter just because I realized in the videos I was sort of talking in circles, and there's a lot more competition out there now for produced content. So for me, my thought is if I can be as efficient and deliver as much value as possible in as little time as possible, it's better to write the script out beforehand and deliver it using a teleprompter. Um, that being said, there is a new wave of interest in live streaming because there's so much scripted content. People want to see you for you. I'm sure even doing this webinar is unique for some of you that have seen my videos and be able to just see me respond to things in real time instead of it being a scripted thing. So there's value in what we're doing here, and there's probably value in live streaming as well. It's just something that I haven't got around to testing yet, but I do see 2025 being a year where I do more of that.
Awesome. So I think we'll take a couple more questions as we are coming at time. What is the top question you receive about Muse? What are people most curious about knowing about it? I guess like at least from me when I am working with I'll reach out to a lot of affiliates and ambassadors and influencers, and I'll be like, I can see how our device, because it helps reduce stress, or it helps to better people's sleep. And so for example, I might reach out to a mom or a parent and be like, hey, you're a new parent, you might have trouble sleeping, this is the device. But then it takes a little bit of time for them to understand, because EEG might be a completely new topic or technology that they're not used to. Same with people who might be an athlete who have been focused so much on their physical training, but they have kind of neglected the mental training. And then there's kind of an education part there. That's kind of how I see it, as just people who are trying to understand why EEG is relevant to them. I'm not sure if, Cody, you get any comments on your channel, or if Sarah, when you're talking to clinicians or customers, what common questions come up?
I mean, there's a lot of common questions. I think because I deal with a lot of businesses in particular, it's, not just how do I become an expert at Muse, but how do I get started? And there's almost this, what I feel is the confidence layer on getting started, but really getting started with either like programs or taking people through a Muse journey. And so the two things I'll say to that is, I always let people know about our Muse challenges. So one of the things, when you're getting started, it's so easy to, challenge people to taking on sort of a new mental health habit. And we have built-in free challenges in the Muse app every single month that is really easy content to be able to use for your community. And from a business perspective, we have, 30-day focused attention training programs that are custom programs you can turn on for your clients. Again, you can email me if you want to learn more about that, but I feel like that understanding how to work with that journey, not just their first time, not just their questions or new topics, but it's really developing out that habit, as I said, is usually the sort of like layer that isn't about the data that I get a lot of requests about. And so really understanding not only how you yourself take on your Muse journey, and to Cody's point, being really authentic about that, but using the tools that we have in the app to promote Muse as that brain health journey.
Amazing. Thanks, Sarah. So yeah, thank you all for your questions. Yes, Julie, if you could please share Cody's channels in the chat, please. If you haven't checked out his videos and you want to learn about Muse and see how you can also implement Muse into your channels, highly recommend subscribing to his channel. If we can, yeah, if your question was not answered during this webinar, please reach out to me at summer@interaxon.ca. If we've convinced you on how that you really want to become an ambassador, please sign up at partners.choosemuse.com. And be sure to look over your email. You'll receive the recording of this webinar and our free How to Make Money as an Ambassador ebook, which will include some tips and tricks that we might not have been able to cover here. I want to say thank you so much to our panelists, Dr. Cody Rawl and Sarah Evans, for your insights. Really appreciate having you here. And thank you so much to all of you for joining. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Summer.